Hello, everyone. Gold Derby editor Daniel Montgomery here with our contributors Cordell Martin and Jeffrey Kare. We are here to talk about the season 25 two-night finale of Dancing with the Stars, which aired on Monday night and Tuesday night. We're recording this on Wednesday night, the 22nd, so all of these events are still fresh in our minds. First off, Cordell, just want to get your thoughts on that big victory by Jordan Fisher.
Yeah, it was well deserved. I mean, Jordan is just in a league of his own. I mean, he's just an amazing dancer. I'm really happy with the results. I think Lindsey did a great job just giving him difficult choreography that was memorable, entertaining, and showed growth for him throughout the season. I also thought Lindsey Sterling did an excellent job as well. And any other season, I would love for her to win, but at least she came in second. So, and then also kudos to Frankie and Drew as well.
Yeah, I feel like it didn't only line up with our predictions; it lined up with exactly where it felt right.
Exactly.
Like Drew, I feel like Drew was like, okay, fourth place, totally fair. But if he had gone into the top three, I would have been upset. Frankie Muniz, top three. I loved seeing him there. I wanted him in the finals this whole time, but I didn't want to see him finish ahead of Jordan or Lindsey. And so then Jordan or Lindsey, honestly would have been happy either way, which whoever was one, whoever was two. But at that point, it's hard to it even would have felt weird for Lindsey to win after all of that setup for Jordan. They really felt like they were kind of teeing it up for him in the end a little bit too. What did you think about that, the end result, Jeffrey?
Well, I was very happy with the end result. In fact, I was happy that pretty much went according to what we anticipated. Drew finished in fourth, Frankie finished in third, Lindsey finished in second, and Jordan came out on top. Yeah, and of course, as you mentioned to us, that Jordan made history as the youngest male champion of Dancing with the Stars in history.
Yeah, and the most perfect scores. Although I really like everything that comes after a certain point with that 24-hour Fusion Challenge era should have an asterisk next to it because it's such like and then the encore dances, they shouldn't have scored those either. Those were just like giveaway tens, giveaway perfect scores, so they shouldn't count, but they do because they're still judges' scores. And then we talked a little bit on Monday night, when we were chatting online about how they gave Lindsey the coveted last spot to perform during the finals, which seemed like they were setting her up to give her a bit of an edge there. But then in the finale night on Tuesday night, Lindsey went first during their competitive dances, and Jordan got the last spot. And then right after Jordan performed his 24-hour fusion dance, and right before voting opened up for like last chance voting online, the judges were telling him how he was one of the best dancers who's ever been on the show, the best male dancer who's ever been on the show, all like lavishing him with praise. It's like they are signaling clearly to the audience at home who their winner is. But yeah, and of course there's the usual backlash. Was he too experienced to win? I was approving comments on our live blog the entire night last night about Lindsey should win. Jordan shouldn't win. He's a professional. What do you think about that, Cordell? Is he on the edge of too professional to have really been fair in this competition?
That is just one of the most annoying comments that we hear season after season. Is such and such is a professional. It's not fair. And what people need to understand is that Dance with the Stars is more than just the best dancer. It's the person that's the complete package, whether they're the best dancer or the most entertaining or the best performer or someone you just connect with. And, I think Jordan really checked a lot of those boxes. Yes, he was the best dancer. He was also entertaining. You also were able to connect with him. There were times when he was vulnerable, when he was emotional, when he was putting on a good show. So I think he was just the most well-rounded contestant this season, and the viewers thought so too. Voted for him. So that's my thought.
Well, what do you think, Jeffrey? He has a Broadway background, and he trained for gymnastics when he was a child. Do you think it was a fair fight with the other contestants?
Well, I think so. I mean, it is always interesting to see, you know, people with all these physical experience competing against people who haven't been as physical, to say the least. Well, that being said, Jordan and Lindsey did have, I guess, some disadvantages fairly recently, with Lindsey having her knee problem, but they were very able to overcome it.
They borrowed some extra cartilage from Lindsey Sterling's rib that she dislocated a couple of weeks back just to fix Lindsey Arnold, because they're like, no, it's not about Lindsey Sterling. We need Jordan to win because he's going to be in our live show coming up. They announced him and Frankie Muniz will be a part of the touring show for Dancing with the Stars coming up. So they definitely wanted him to win. Cordell, what do you think Jordan ranks among the all-time winners of Dancing with the Stars?
Ooh. For me personally, I would probably say he's in my top 5 of all time. I've watched Dance with the Stars since season 1, and week after week, Jordan has just brought it. I can't think of any routine that was like horrible. Everything was just so good and spectacular. But definitely my top 5, and I might even say my favorite male champion, possibly.
What about you, Jeffrey? Where do you think he ranks? How many seasons have you seen, and where would you say he belongs?
Well, like Cordell, I've been watching it since season 1, and in all honesty, I haven't really thought about who my favorite champions have been, but I guess if I were to make one, I'd definitely take Jordan into consideration. I mean, especially this past week, like on the first night, I thought he and Lindsey killed it in the first round and were also just incredible in the second. And last night, I thought they did some great work in the first round, and second round, I was just speechless.
Yeah, I was. I was watching the show from the beginning. I watched the first maybe 2 or 3 seasons, and then I dropped off, and then I picked it back up much later, season 18. He is up there with, of the ones that I've seen and followed, up there with Meryl Davis and Alfonso Ribeiro certainly, and maybe even higher than that. And Laurie Hernandez. I would say those 4 are, of the seasons I've followed on this show have been the best. And he's certainly right up there with them. It was starting to get almost annoying how good he was. Like, he never did anything poorly. The only time he got dock points was really his partner's fault, Lindsey's fault. Like their Charleston, their superhero Charleston, where he got dock points because there wasn't enough Charleston content in it. Well, that was the choreographer's fault, not his fault as a dancer. So even then, there was never anything wrong with his dancing, and he had the charisma, and he was kind of gutsy in places. Like I was talking, when Jeffrey and I were discussing the finale episode live, his encore dance, like, this is my favorite dance, I'm gonna choose to do this again, was his samba. He chose to repeat a samba. No one forced him to repeat it. No one does a samba willingly, let alone do it twice. And he got the perfect 10s for it. The perfect courtesy 10s for that encore dance. Although they were deserved because it was a really fantastic samba. He really does stand out as one of the most accomplished in the show's history, from what I've seen, and of course from what you two have seen, having watched the entire series from the beginning. On the plus side, Lindsey Sterling did finally get perfect nights again. She went up. In 2 nights, she went from 1 perfect score of 10s across the board to 5, because she got 4 in total this finale week. I love that she finished second. I think that's kind of was right for how the season was going, even though she was my personal favorite of the season. Where do you think she ranks among all-time non-winners, Cordell?
Oh, wow. I would say she ranks pretty high in my personal rankings. Along with Jordan, I thought that she was one of the best performers this season. And I think that's in credit to Mark's creative choreography. I think he did an amazing job just really capturing who Lindsey is as a person. And then I just loved her energy. I think, she tackled each dance with an open mind and just enjoyed the process. So it was refreshing, and it was just great to see Mark happy again and really engaged this season with Lindsey.
Where do you think Lindsey stacks up, Jeffrey?
Well, I guess I almost compare, the final to this season between Lindsey and Jordan to, I guess, several seasons back when the final two was Amber Riley and Corbin Blue, because those were some powerhouse contestants. And so as for Lindsey Sterling, she and Mark Ballas also had a great week this week, because on night one they did some excellent and amazing work in both their rounds, while last night, very energetic in the first round, and they continued to amaze me in the second. So yeah, I'd say, this was a pretty competitive season where even the contestants who didn't make it far almost seemed like they would have made it farther any other season.
That's true.
Yeah, and it was really nice to see Lindsey go out on a high, especially given that injury in the midseason that I really think curtailed her momentum just permanently. Like, she was never able to get quite that momentum back again. But especially with that freestyle dance, which I felt was the best freestyle of the night, even though Jordan's was any other night, Jordan's would have been the best of the night. But Lindsey, just with the way they brought out her on the violin while she's dancing, it was just such a perfect encapsulation of her as a dancer and as a musician and as an artist. It just felt like Mark Ballas got her in a way that was such a perfect match together. So I'm very happy with the way that ended. But now we can look forward to the way the next season begins, which will be season 26, or really we could almost think of it as season 25 and a half.
Yeah.
Because it was announced that Tom Bergeron, the host of Dancing with the Stars, announced during the finale episode that next season will be an abbreviated season, 4 weeks long. And according to ABC, I saw their press release after the show. There will be 10 contestants still, so it will be a shortened season, but it won't be any less crowded. Slightly less crowded. This season had 13. And it'll be an not all star, an all athlete season. And of course, athletes have been on Dancing with the Stars countless times in the past, many times, several athletes this past season. 10 out of the 25 winners of the show have been athletes in some form or another. What do you think about an all athlete season, Cordell?
I think it's long overdue. To your point, athletes usually tend to be more popular on the show. They bring a lot of fan bases with them. And also, it'll be right after the Winter Olympics. So there'll be a lot of potential athletes that they could cast, from a rating standpoint. In terms of it being 4 weeks, I feel like it's just too short of a window and time period for us to really connect with them, especially for those lesser known athletes. So I think maybe if they did it to 6 weeks, kind of like how they did the first season, I think that would be a lot better. But I'm curious to see how the whole elimination process is going to work and all of that. But I think it's long overdue, and I'm excited. I'd rather have this than the junior spinoff with the stars. I don't want to see kids get eliminated and all of that drama. So
I agree. I do like this idea better than Dancing with the Stars Junior that had been floated around, or not even just floated around. It was actually planned. They were going ahead with that, and now it doesn't look like that's going to happen, or at least not next season. What do you think about all athletes, Jeffrey?
Well, it probably sounds like a smart move, especially considering what we were just talking about, how if it's even fair to see, experienced performers competing against people who aren't as experienced. So it should be nice to see a season where all the contestants are evenly matched with their profession, which is athletes. And I guess it should also be interesting to see if anyone competing in this year's Winter Olympics will go on to Dancing with the Stars, because I remember after the last Winter Olympics, where Merle Davis and what's the other guy?
Charlie White.
Charlie White, yes. That they both went on to compete on Dancing with the Stars soon after that. And I guess especially also considering how, it was right after Frozen came out, and people often commented on how much Charlie looked a lot like Kristoff.
Yeah, and after, of course, the Summer Olympics in Rio, they got a whole year out of that one because they had Laurie Hernandez and Ryan Lochte in season 23 a year ago, last fall, and then they had Simone Biles in season 24 this past spring. So I'm definitely going to be watching the Winter Olympics to see who they're going to try and get, because they're going to try and get someone.
Oh yeah.
Maybe Ashley Wagner, the figure skater. She for figure skating, she's close to retirement age. She's like 26 or 27. So people age out of that sport really early. Depending on how her Olympics go, she might retire from skating or retire from competitive skating and start by doing Dancing with the Stars. I could totally see that, and she has this huge personality that would be great on the dance floor. But just various other sports. I'd love, people, skiers or curlers, to see curling represented on Dancing with the Stars. Finally, it's long overdue. It would be really exciting, and I do hope, in the intervening months, Cordell, Jeffrey, and I as well, we will all be brainstorming possible ideas for the all athlete cast, the way we all considered who might be cast this past season of Dancing with the Stars, this regular season. So we had a much wider net to cast this year, and it'll be much harder or much easier to try and figure out who might be contestants from just one kind of field of expertise. So what are some of your final thoughts about this past season, Cordell?
Going in, and we discussed this, I was a little underwhelmed with the cast, but I will say, going in with an open mind, I was thoroughly entertained. I actually liked majority of the cast members. I thought in terms of just how it played out, I thought it was pretty fair in terms of who was eliminated, how everyone placed. There weren't any upsets or big shockers like it was last season. So it was a great feeling, and I really just enjoyed this season from start to finish.
What did you think of the season, Jeffrey?
Well, yeah, like I said, it was a very competitive and exciting season to watch. And I should point out that in my poll for this season before it started, Frankie Muniz was one of my many suggestions. I was very thrilled to see him not only finally contest on the show, but see him do very well. I was very pleased with his overall work and seeing him come in third place. Yeah, I especially thought, he and Whitney did some great work both nights. And yeah, again, a great season, very exciting to watch. And again, to Cordell's point, there wasn't any big shockers elimination like Heather Morris getting eliminated early on last season. So yeah, I was very happy with the way this season turned out.
Yeah, I was very happy as well. I was like Cordell. I was very skeptical about how the season would turn out. There weren't a lot of known quantities in terms of will any of these people be able to dance? It felt like, it's going to be mediocrity until we get down to maybe the 2 or 3 who we know look like their resumes indicate potentially a good dancer. But it was so much better than that. And so I was very happy with the level of competition and with most of the eliminations. There were some I would quibble with. I think the only shocker where I thought both of them went home earlier than they should have was that terrible double elimination of Vanessa Lachey and Nikki Bella. I thought they both deserved, at least a couple more weeks in the competition. But that's about as egregious as it got. I didn't think it was anyone finished much more poorly than they deserve to, for the most part. But before we sign off, I just want to say an official congratulations to Cordell for having the highest prediction score at Gold Derby for season 25 of Dancing with the Stars. 73 prediction questions answered over the course of the season, and you finished with an accuracy of 74.29%. I, by the way, finished 7th.
There we go.
Which is respectable. My figure skating geek in me knows that if we were the American team and our first place and 7th place finishes guarantees us 3 spots for the next World Championships. So let's just pretend this is works like figure skating does, and we both represent the country of Gold Derby.
There we go.
Yeah.
And so my prediction score was 70%, which was not too bad. I did have some really bad misses over the course of the season with a couple of eliminations I should have seen coming that I didn't. But I won't complain much more about that. So with that, I want to thank you, Jeffrey, and thank you, Cordell, for joining me every week for season 25 of Dancing with the Stars. And we will definitely be back, both of or all 3 of us, for season 25 and a quarter, to see what athletes get in, what pros there will be, how they'll eliminate people, if they might do some routines during or result shows during commercial breaks of American Idol or something to try and fit in as much as possible. So with that, thank you once again for joining me, and thank you everyone out there for watching.
All right, good night.